UFC Vegas 101. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to kicking off the first weigh-in recap show of 2025. So make sure you guys smash the likes. If you're new, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. Also note, I will be live for the entire UFC Vegas 101 fight card Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you tune into the live stream Fight Companion. Honestly, you should tune in to the daily live streams because Monday to Friday, I'm going twice a day right now, savage mode. And I'm really excited to kick 2025 off with some fights. I've been fiending for the UFC for too damn long, and I'm sure most of you too. Let's get into it. First fight on the card, we have Joe Solecki versus Nurullo Aliev. We got twin Khabib. I'm going with Nurullo Aliev to win. How can I not pick against the Khabib Nurmagomedov doppelganger? And he honestly has good skills too. Solid pressure wrestling, good takedowns, can embrace the grind well. He beat Rafael Alves, which now is actually a little while back, right? Almost 2 years ago. Alves was a UFC washout after the fact, but like he's definitely one of the best guys to get released from the UFC. The dude's a monster in striking, and he's a super explosive and strong Brazilian. Aliev controlled the grappling in that fight, was consistent at landing takedowns. They kind of get locked in a ghillie at one point. On the opposite side, Joe Solecki, he got dominated in grappling last time out by Grant Dawson. Kind of pulled off a nice ghillie attempt, though, in that fight, but ultimately wasn't able to do much else, and Grant Dawson kind of just controlled and beat him up. He got slammed real bad by Drakkar Klose in the fight before. This seems like a Nurullo Aliev fight. Note that Solecki took this fight on short notice. So we had, not a real preparation in camp to prepare for Nurullo Aliev. Now, he did make weight. We're going to look at the scales right now because, we got a short notice guy. We got to see how they're looking. To be fair, Joe Solecki on short notice looks fairly typical. I don't know, maybe a little less shredded than normal, like a little more fat on the sides, but definitely not like completely out of shape. I'm sure that he's still training all year. And then on the opposite side, we got Khabib, Nurullo Aliev, Nurmagomedov. Definitely a similar look to Khabib, but odds are if you look that close to Khabib that he ain't going to live up to expectations. But the expectation of Saturday, come on. Come on. He's got to live up to the expectation of Saturday. I won't accept any other outcomes, okay? Nurullo Aliev is going to win this fight. I am going to bring up the face-off, too, between these savages here. Let's get face-off number one on the screen. There it is. All right. I got it in HD quality. I know that, MMA Junkie posts a picture of the face-offs, too, but, like, the angle was pretty bad this week, and I had to bring my own thunder. So you see Aliev looking, a little bit taller. I feel like the wrestling skill set that we already know of is a substantial factor. We got Joe Solecki, who's more, jiu-jitsu-based submission threats. And then we got Nurullo Aliev, who's got pressure wrestling, consistent takedowns, a good gas tank. He's also super young. He's 24 years old. I would say sky is the limit. He essentially has like a limitless ceiling. And I think Nurullo Aliev is going to pull off a W against Joe Solecki for sure. Odds would agree, though. My God, they put it at minus 700. Oh, my gosh. Now, granted, at open, we were at minus 350. That's just a lot of money getting thrown down on the Nurullo Aliev side. He's a confident pick for most people. Plus 500 for Joe Solecki. He deserves to be this big of a dog, especially the short notice spot. You got to assume Aliev embraces the grind, beats him up, and wins a decision. Minus 215 is not very exciting, though. Over 2.5, minus 325. Not much on it. I mean, probably goes over. If you look at Nurullo Aliev, he's also not known for finishes. Like, he got a finish, to be fair, against Josh Wick, though. Come on, bro. Who the hell is Josh Wick, right? He ran through him in a round, but historically, he's been a round winner. That was his only, like, real finish. The other one was a corner stoppage. He's been a king at embracing the grind and winning these grappling heavy decisions. I think when they go to the ground, Aliev is the guy that ends up on top position, and that should probably win him the fight. And the official prediction is going to be Nurullo Aliev to win by unanimous decision. I see that as the most likely outcome. And yeah, we're calling it Aliev W to start 2025 off. Let's keep running. We got more fights. Next up, we got Victoria Dudakova versus Fatima Kline. I don't understand why the odds are so wide, but, I'll save the odds till after a little bit of breakdown talk in the weigh-ins, but horrible lines. The pick is Fatima Kline. I hate the odds. The pick is Fatima Kline, though. She's got solid jiu-jitsu, decent takedowns, but she is unproven at 6-1. She did okay early against Gadzhiyasulov, and she did survive till the final bell. So I guess her claim to fame is losing to Gadzhiyasulov by a decision. She was a, pretty well-respected grappling pressure fighter leading into that fight against Gadzhiyasulov. And she does train with Erin Blanchfield, so I guess that's a positive. Dudakova on the other side, 2 fights ago, she was like a huge favorite against Jinyu Frey. Now, she's a huge underdog against Fatima Kline. It's head-scratching to me how she went from one of the most hyped-up prospects in the women's divisions to now kind of being in, like, the bust zone. Like, minus what? Well, you got to look at the Sam Hughes line. What was that? Minus what? Against Sam Hughes, she was minus 165. She lost a split decision. She was competitive with Sam Hughes. She had moments in striking. Fatima Kline is a delusional bet. If you're parlaying up Fatima Kline, I think you're kind of just being dumb. At minus 900, minus 950, there's no value in it. Maybe Fatima Kline later stage submission win, second or third round if Dudakova gasses. I'm thinking that this is one of those chill on the outside type of fights. You have a girl in Dudakova whose gas tank is very questionable with sus takedown defense in the second and third round. And then you have Fatima Kline, who's completely unproven at a high level. And she has probably the worst haircut I've ever seen in women's MMA. We're going to bring it up. Dudakova, she looks fantastic. Dudakova looks like a winner. She's got big shoulders, pretty savage physique. This isn't an underdog at the line they have it. This doesn't make any sense. Fatima Kline, listen, the shaved sides don't look nearly as bad in this lighting. Okay? It's all lighting. Right there, it looks fine, but you'll see in a second. I got a problem with Fatima Kline's cut, man. I honestly think if you're going to have it like that, you got to shave it all off. I think it's too shaven on the sides for me, man. I don't know. Or put it up in the air. Make it like Yuri Prohashka type shit. Dudakova looks big. She's right in her face. The odds for this fight are so stupid. Fatima Kline, I see her with a clear grappling advantage. But on the feet, I think Dudakova can land some big shots. I'm sure she can defend a few takedowns. It's just... non-bettable, really. And then people will say, oh, well, let's just chase the underdog then. Yeah, see, there's the haircut looking rough, dog. Rough. Holy shit. I hate the cut. And I think I'm a hair expert too. Not the move. All right. Odds for the fight. Minus 925. Can I throw something at the screen? Would that be disrespectful? Plus 625 for Dudakova. What are we talking about? Fatima Kline is not a 9-1 favorite, bro. What the fuck? Submission for Fatima Kline. Fatima. Plus 325. Kline by third round submission. Fatima. Plus 1200. Plus 950. Fuck this. Nah, man. I'm staying away. It's D-Gen props only in this fight. Fatima Kline has good submission threats, to be fair. And, her ability to grapple for 3 rounds hard is what gives her the win, in my opinion. She's still the pick, even though I'm shafting her. But, she went 4 rounds with a 6-3 girl, Sarakova 5-3. There's really not high-level opposition on her resume. And she doesn't even have much of an amateur background, just one fight. She comes from more the jiu-jitsu base. Gadzhiyasulov is like her only legit fight, and she lost. Again, she took her down early. What I'm saying is Victoria Dudakova is still an 8-1 Russian fighter. Like, you can't be 9-1. That's crazy. So, yeah, I wouldn't bet fucking Fatima. I wouldn't. Maybe sub call. And then Dudakova is like a degen underdog call, but I still think she loses the fight. But she's got a lot more of a chance than the odds would have the narrative painted as. So, Fatima for the W. Fatima with the botched haircut gets it done. After this fight, get it to the hair salon. Next fight, we got Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Bruno Lopes. I am a big fan of this fight. I like Magomed Gadzhiyasulov, of course. I'm picking the Dagestan fighter training out of Bahrain. He's a quality talent. He's got decent fight IQ. His kickboxing game is solid. I know he hasn't gotten finishes in his last two fights, but to be fair, he beat Brenderson Ribeiro. And if you remember correctly, because I do, Brenderson Ribeiro separated Bruno Lopes from consciousness in a massive upset on the Contender Series in violent fashion. Bruno Lopes is not that good. He's slow inside of the pocket. He's heavy-footed too. He's got a bit of punching power, but he's more the type of guy that has to overcome adversity and like outdog his opponent over like a hard fight. I don't love the chances of that happening. I think Magomed Gadzhiyasulov is live for 3 rounds. He's got a decent gas tank. He showed a decent fight IQ with, Brenderson Ribeiro chopping his legs up. I mean, Ribeiro wrecked his calf, and then he took Ribeiro down consistently. He's like, oh, he's weak here, and just kept dominating him on the ground. Was it the most entertaining thing you've ever seen? Hell no. But it's still an effective, style. And effectiveness on Magomed Gadzhiyasulov's side is what I like. I really don't reckon that Bruno Lopes is anywhere near elite. His boxing is okay. He lacks head movement. He lacks speed. But he does have a bit of power. But I think Gadzhiyasulov is like too mobile, too versatile, too good from the outside. And I think he could even surprise Bruno with some takedowns. So Magomed Gadzhiyasulov, he's got to win this fight. You can't lose to Bruno Lopes. That would be a huge letdown. Let's check out the scales here. We got Bruno Lopes. I mean, he looks pretty solid on the scale. Big light heavyweight. Gadzhiyasulov kind of seems like, I don't know, a knockoff Magomed Ankalaev, bro. I mean, they're both from Dagestan. You can see the Dagestan look in his face. Is he going to be the bust of Dagestan? I don't think so. He's taking on the fucking rhinestone cowboy himself. He's taking on Bruno Lopes, the Brazilian cowboy. I don't think Bruno Lopes beats him. He's so slow to enter the pocket. And like, he got dropped by Sazenyani on Contender Series. And then he got knocked out in the, other fight with Brenderson Ribeiro the season before. I don't like the chances of Bruno Lopes getting a W, man. I think that Magomed Gadzhiyasulov, either by decision or maybe even knockout, I could see him throwing up a high kick, but should also have a bit of a wrestling edge. There's another look at the face-off. It looks like the Gadzhiyasulov fight. And to be honest, Gadzhiyasulov looks more badass from this angle. I think he could get a finish here, man. Bruno Lopes might be a little bit chinnier than we're even considering. So Gadzhiyasulov, I think he's close to lock category. He's definitely a confident pick. He's minus 250 as a very large favorite. Bruno Lopes plus 210 as the underdog. Looking towards over plus 120. So the fight's expected to end inside of the distance. Gadzhiyasulov via KO plus 300. And then what's decision? Gadzhiyasulov decision plus 200. I want to check something here. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov, he's got 2 straight wins, 3 straight wins by decision. He's got a ground and pound finish here. He likes that ground and pound, man. He does have good takedowns. I could see him using some grappling against Bruno Lopes and controlling him from top a bit. The dude's so experienced, though. 10-3 amateur, undefeated as a pro. I think he's live for the KO, but, we've been seeing a lot of decisions over, Magomed Gadzhiyasulov's last few fights. Bruno could be the guy he chins, though, because, Bruno's a little chinny. And Bruno's wins in LFA are eh. He's fighting in that LFA Brazilian circuit. It might as well be him fighting in like the league Shuto or jungle fight over there. I don't think it's anything too high level, even though it's LFA. So I'm going for the Dagestan blood, Bahrain Savage himself. Give me the OV. Give me Magomed Gadzhiyasulov to beat Bruno Lopes up. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Ernesta Kareckaite versus Nicole Caliari. Nicole Cagliari's my pick in this fight. I think she can win, man. She looked good on the scale too, and Kareckaite didn't look so good on the scale. I like Cagliari as an underdog, man. She's definitely got the dog in her. Good aggressive pressure-based style, solid grappling, good submission threats, a little bit reckless and wild on the feet, but that's a good thing when you're taking on a technician who lacks power. I get it. Ernesta Kareckaite, it's kind of like a joke, you know? She's known as heavy-handed, but who's she knocking out? She's a decision queen. She's the volume puncher. Maybe you could call her fast hands, but heavy hands is a crazy nickname for her. It's just not accurate. She was, put in a bad spot on the ground by Diani Barboza. She's relatively inexperienced at a high level. Now, granted, it's not like Cagliari has fought like hyper elite every time, right? And, Kareckaite has got more UFC experience, but Carly Judice, a 3-0 girl, and she wins a close split decision. I remember that fight. It was an awesome fight. I watched it live. It was a good matchup. I've seen that fight several times when both of them, had UFC debuts and whatnot. So I've seen enough of it to know that yes, it was awesome and impressive. I question how that would translate to a fight against a tricky grappler, right? And then Diani Barboza's out grappler, and Barboza's a Muay Thai striker. And Barboza less experienced than Cagliari. Cagliari's being slept on, man. I think she's going to win. Now, yeah, she's at a height and a reach disadvantage. We'll pull up the scales and, check out how everything looks. But you can see Cagliari is in great physical condition. She is absolutely jacked with muscle, dude. And she's definitely got the fake ones up top. I don't blame her because you cutting all that weight, they'll shrink to nothing. So that's how you can kind of tell. But it works for her. I think it looks great. I think she looks excellent. And then we got Ernesta Kareckaite. She's a former swimmer. To be honest, she actually looks kind of like a female version of like the young Sam Sulek, the bodybuilder doing the vlogs and shit. You see what I'm saying? I guess it's just swimmers all look alike or something like that. Let's look at the face-off between these two girls. Bro, Cagliari's got aura about her. You can't tell me otherwise. Kareckaite is not going to be... Look how skinny Kareckaite is. She's going to get bodied on the ground. Cagliari's a great underdog this week. I think she's 1,000% in the fight, and I see her winning. Kareckaite is not going to be able to stay on her feet for 3 rounds. Cagliari's going to get inside. She's going to get her to the ground, and I think she's live to win by submission too. I like the chance for Cagliari. Let's look at the odds. Plus 220 on a money line is wide enough as is. Like, you could just be chilling on a money line. You don't even need to touch a prop. But if you want to look at some Savage Mode USA type of things, Cagliari by sub up to plus 750. Bro, Cagliari's got tricky jiu-jitsu, man. 3 submission wins, 5 KOs, never won a decision. She's a finisher, and she's got a clear advantage on the ground with Kareckaite. I think Cagliari, man. I think Cagliari gets it done. Submission. It's like price, submission, or ground and pound. Money line's the A side, but Cagliari, I see her winning this fight. There's no reason that a women's fight like this should have odds this wide. If you want my honest odds, if I was to do it myself, I would put it at minus 110. I think they're 50-50. You could have a slight lean towards Kareckaite maybe. But I could even see Cagliari getting a slight lean because of her grappling prowess. I don't understand the odds. I don't agree with the odds. I think Ernesta Kareckaite is good, but she's being heavily overrated here. And I think she's dealing with a very tough Brazilian girl who's not going to back down and who's going to have a big advantage on the floor. So Cagliari for the W, underdog, and a good underdog call. Let's get it. Next fight on the card, we got Preston Parsons versus Jacobe Smith. The pick has been Jacobe Smith all week. How do you not pick this promising up-and-comer who's, getting shouted out by Daniel Cormier and getting a lot of hype from Contender Series and actually looking good too? He's got knockout ability on his feet. He's got good ground and pound. He's got a good gas tank. He can chain wrestle all night. Preston Parsons not going to have the athleticism to deal with Jacobe Smith. I know Jacobe's coming in on short notice, but this is a guy that's putting in the work all year. He doesn't need a camp, bro. Optimally, he has a camp, but he doesn't need one. He comes in at 170.5 looking shredded because he's killing it all year, knowing that as a young prospect, you got to be ready to jump in on short notice. He probably looked at this fight when Gustafsson and Parsons got booked and said to himself, maybe you got to stay ready because that's my weight class, right? If they're giving it to Gustafsson, who was a contender series guy, that was the fight that was supposed to be Gustafsson Parsons. Why wouldn't they give it to me? And Jacobe Smith on short notice gets it, and he's going to fuck Preston Parsons up. I think Jacobe Smith's probably going to knock his ass out. Ground and pound, probably. But he's live to do it with hands, too. Jacobe Smith can move on the feet. He's quick. He's got good wrestling. He does it all really well. He's a high-level athlete, and I don't think Preston Parsons can deal with it. Preston Parsons is like, listen, a tough gatekeeper, a tough journeyman. Jacobe Smith's a real prospect. Look at the physique. This is a guy not in camp, looking jacked and shredded. Bro, I think Jacobe Smith's got it. There's Preston Parsons. To be fair, Parsons looks fucking jacked, too. Give Parsons some credit. His physique looks fucking on point, man. He definitely trains hard. I don't question that. I just don't think he has the athleticism of Jacobe Smith. There's the face-off between the two. I'm really excited to see this fight. This is like the true tell-all fight for Jacobe Smith. We'll find out what he's really about. I think from, the contender series win and some tape at the lower levels, I think he looks pretty damn good. And I, for one, am super excited to see what he can put together inside of the damn cage at a high, high level. Preston Parsons is no joke of a debut, though. Preston Parsons is a vet, man. This is actually like a pretty respectable debut. And granted, he took it on short notice, too. But listen, say what you want. 2-3 record in the UFC, but beat up Evan Elder, right? Went tooth and nail with Trevin Giles. Beat Matt Semmelsberger. Oban Elliott, handled him. Oban Elliott's pretty good. I like Jacobe Smith, though, and he's going to be the pick. As far as the odds, though, this is like crazy wide. Jacobe Smith is a great talent and a really fun prospect, but the odds for this fight are just out of control where you really can't get any value on it. Minus 600 is just outlandish. There shouldn't be a short notice debuting guy at minus 600 over Preston Parsons. If he was minus 260, I would say, okay. At open, the odds for Jacobe Smith were minus 210. That's sensible, but a lot of people have put money down, parlayed them up. This is how it goes. Minus 600 is crazy. You're really not getting much on it, but he'll win. He'll win. Over 1.5, minus 200. Honestly, the over 1.5 could be risky because Jacobe Smith, he's fast. And in round one, we've seen Parsons put down by, Daniel Rodriguez a while back, so it could happen. Smith by a TKO plus 115. Smith by a decision plus 235. I think Smith is KO or decision. I think he's ready to go 3 hard if need be, but with his athletic skills and his natural speed and his, work ethic, and hard effort that he puts in and the fights like with high pace, pressure, I think Preston Parsons is going to be overwhelmed. He's not going to be able to deal, bro. Jacobe Smith, probably a TKO, is the side that I'm going to go towards. I see him getting the fight, and I think he's a very talented guy to watch. So hopefully the short notice doesn't bite him in the ass. We shall find out. Let's keep running up. Next fight. We got more to talk about. Next fight on the card, we have Thiago Moisés versus Trey Ogden. You guys know I like Trey Ogden as a dog lock, man. I like Trey Ogden a lot as a dog on this card. I like Ogden. Obviously, Caliari, you know of too. Shoot. I think Trey's got a good chance to beat Thiago Moisés because he has quality grappling defense with a solid jab on top of also having a bit of a size edge over Thiago Moisés. And let's be real, Moisés doesn't strike in any exceptional fashion. He also doesn't wrestle at an extremely high rate. What he's known for is jiu-jitsu or just being well-rounded overall and, being able to outwork people to decisions. Now, he is very young at 29, and he's fought some high-level guys, but I won't lie to you. Trey Ogden at this point seems like a hard stylistic matchup from Moisés on paper. Moisés BSD wrecked him. BSD broke him, right? Then he beats Mitch Ramirez, right? Lower-level win. Loses dominantly to Ludovic Kline. Melquizio Costa win, he's a featherweight. Christos Giagos win, he was washed. I think Trey Ogden's a hard fight for Moisés, and I see it as a competitive fight going tooth and nail. I won't lie to you. After the weigh-ins, I was thinking to myself, damn, if it was post-weigh-in, would I have dog-locked Caliari? Maybe. But I still really like the look of Trey Ogden on the scale, and I do think he's got a pretty live shot to pull this one out. Now, I will look at the scales and check these savages out. But no, Trey Ogden has a good jab. He's got good wrestling. He's got a relatively high fight IQ. He's in good shape. He's a coach too. And we got Thiago Moisés, who like doesn't do anything exceptional. For some reason, we're not getting the Moisés pick. There he is. Moisés looks in decent shape, but like kind of awkward looking. This isn't the best Thiago Moisés physique I've ever seen either, to be honest. And they had a pretty, tooth and nail face off here. You can see Ogden a good amount bigger. I think Moisés is going to try to grapple him up. I think Ogden can work a nice jab on him. Let's see if I can get this face off from a different angle. Let's see this one. Ogden a little larger. He's just a bigger dude. And I think that's going to help him to defend Thiago Moisés's grappling attempts, which I'm feeling like are pretty likely. I think Ogden can work a jab. I think he strikes with Moisés well. I think he wrestles with Moisés well. Pure jiu-jitsu, yes, Moisés is tricky there, but Ogden's crafty on the ground. I think this fight goes all three. I think it's relatively competitive, but I think Trey Ogden takes it home. And I'd say probably Trey Ogden by unanimous or even, split decision if it's that close, but probably unanimous decision. Plus 155, Ogden is the dog. He was up to plus 180 earlier in the week. Minus 180 for Thiago Moisés. Now, as far as the rest of the lineup, over 2.5, minus 280. I think there's a good chance we're going into the later stages. Ogden by decision, plus 250, probably happening. But odds on that Caliari sub are way better than odds on this. Plus 155, good underdog. Live underdog. I think Trey Ogden can win the fight. I see Trey Ogden working a jab. I see Trey Ogden probably backing Moisés up a little bit. Not wrestling much, though. And at times, Ogden is willing to take a step back and counter strike. Moisés is going to try to throw like looping and big shots to make him uncomfortable. But I think Ogden sticks him with some jabs. Moisés is going to be trying to wrestle. He'll struggle to get Ogden down. Ogden might even land a counter takedown off of Moisés's attempt. So interesting back and forth incoming. And I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm going to call Trey Ogden as a dog in this one. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Marco Tulio versus Ihor Potieria. I've been picking Marco Tulio throughout the week, but I have to put a cautionary tale out. I don't think he's that good. And he's another one of these way too wide favorites who are debuting and really just don't deserve odds of this caliber. Poteria's got pretty good hands. He's got a win over Robert Bryshek, who at one point was a promising prospect. I get it. He got ran over by Michel Pereira. He lost to Cesar Almeida. But why would you bet on Marco Tulio, who has no upside? Like, sure, I picked Marco Tulio. Yeah, pick him. Pick him. He should probably win a decision or maybe a later stage finish, but probably a decision. But he also has been knocked out before. He's not super quick. He's not super precise. He's good. He's got a lot of tools. He's probably a bit more fine-tuned than Potieria, right? He's a bit more fine-tuned. That's how I'll describe him. But as far as being hyper elite or even that good, I don't feel it. Like Poteria's got quick hands. Potieria is clunky on his feet and he loses his balance, but he's still crafty and he still can land with some power. So I would just be worried about Tulio as far as a bet because the odds are too wide. He's a straight pick for sure. And I think he should win this fight by decision. His technical ability should carry weight. But I feel like I would be a buffoon to throw down on Tulio and then he loses. I would rather put a little sprinkle on Potieria KO. We'll look at the odds in a second, okay? We'll look at the odds in a second. First things first, we got to look at Tulio. Like, he doesn't really look in that good of shape either. Like, he looks kind of weak in the shoulders. Looks like skinnier than before. I feel like Tulio had more mass on him in the past. Potieria, note that he did miss weight. He came in at 188, but hey, that could be an advantage. Then there's the face-off. Bro, Tulio looks like fucking Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Brazilian Mountain, bro. He's killing me with the fucking cowboy hat, dude. Holy shit. Oh, my God. Tulio. Fuck, bro. Don't do the paint in the cowboy hat. That just looks zesty. That looks zesty, bro. Potieria, I think has a good shot to win this fight, to be honest with you. I'm picking Tulio, but am I really? Like, I guess he's officially the pick because I don't know. I hate flips, but the betting side is not Tulio. I would not risk it at minus 530. There's Potieria. He looks pretty solid. It's a good face off, respectable. You're not going to get much from the face off. What I want to look at is the damn odds. Look at this. Minus 450 for Tulio just seems outlandish to me. It seems stupid to me. Potieria is plus 350. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Tulio by decision plus 425. Potieria by KO upwards of plus 1100. Bro, Potieria's definitely got a shot to knock out Tulio. It's like, if I'm touching anything here, the sprinkle is on Potieria to get it done via KO. I get it. Tulio's more well-rounded, right? Tulio should have, the ability to control, pace in this fight, potentially back Potieria up against the cage and neutralize his striking arsenal. But he also could get caught by some. So would not bet on Tulio. The pick is Tulio. I think the DGen prop side is going Potieria by KO because why the fuck not? He's got maybe like what, a 1 in 4 chance of catching him. Yeah, probably 75% of the time Tulio wins a, pressure-based decision. And then I think there's, 1 out of the 4, 25% where Potieria snaps him with the counter strike. So we shall see. Either way, I have to go with the percentage-based pick on the inside, Tulio probably decision. But my heart is with Potieria, but I'm sticking with the tape telling me Tulio should win. But there's chinks in his armor, and he should not be this wide of a favorite. No way. Would not go after him betting-wise, personally. Next fight on the card, we got Jose Johnson versus Felipe Bunes. This is the featured prelim. Jose Johnson missed weight, man. Came in at 128.5. Felipe Bunes ready to rock at 126. I've been picking Jose Johnson throughout the week, but I won't lie to you. I have my reservations about him, especially after this weight cut. Granted, he came in bigger, which could be something that comes in handy in the later stage with Bunes with a questionable gas tank at 35. But Johnson, he fights with kind of a lower IQ, right? Because at 6 feet tall, at 125 pounds, you think he'd be from distance, right? Sniping shots, throwing feints, kind of more like a Randy Brown type style. Instead, he's pressuring forward and not even using his height. Rarely does he use it. And I'm always like, Jose Johnson, what are you thinking, brother? Develop stiff jab. Hit him hard. I don't get it. But whatever. I'm not his coach. I'm not him. He's decent on the ground, though. Especially with his length, he's tricky to deal with on the floor. He's like very wiry, right? He's skinny, but like deceptively has a bit of strength. Doesn't have great takedown defense, but also has decent takedown offense. He's not bad on the ground. To be honest, he has a pretty bad loss to Damon Blackshear by Twister a year and a half ago. Bunes has tricky jiu-jitsu, but he's a 35-year-old prospect. The issue is with Bunes and also like the issue with the confidence on Johnson. So I know somebody that's watched Bunes sparring with Davis and Figueiredo into his lead up with Moreno. Okay. So when I have information like that, it just makes me wonder. He's like, oh, he actually looked pretty good. He was competitive out there, but how hard were they going? Bunes is probably a great training partner, but is he elite caliber? I don't think so. He's also 35. I'm still sticking with Jose Johnson as the pick. Like, I considered a flip because Bunes looks damn good on the scale. He don't look 35. Johnson, I mean, bro, he looks like, honestly, he looks like a bulimic version of fucking Chris Rock, how skinny as he is, bro. Holy shit. And Chris Rock's pretty fucking skinny, man. But I think he'll deliver the Will Smith slapping to Felipe Bunes. There's the Brazilian. He looks short, man. It's just hard to back a 35-year-old prospect with any confidence, man. Jose Johnson is really experienced. He's still young at 29. He's pretty well-rounded. I think Jose Johnson should win. I think he's taking Bunes. How does it go? Probably towards the later stage. I guess I lean towards Jose Johnson decision, but it wouldn't blow my mind if Bunes is gassed in round 3 and Johnson finds a way to submit him using his size. So the call is going to be Jose Johnson. I see him as the victor. I see this as a fun fight. I'm actually really excited to witness what goes down between these two savages. This is going to be an intriguing matchup, I think. And I think Jose Johnson, I think he shines. 35-year-old Bunes, come on. I can't pick a 35-year-old prospect. Won't allow myself to do it. And Johnson's been active, right? Contender Series win was dominant. Blackshear loss was upsetting, but he beat in Helliger. Then he lost to Asu Almabayev, who's a top caliber contender. Felipe Bunes, he lost to Joshua Van badly. Van's good. And then other than that, he's got wins in LFA, a loss to Jussier Formiga. To be honest, though, the best guy to lose to an LFA, because Formiga probably shouldn't even been cut by the UFC. But, bro, he's a 35-year-old prospect. I think Jose Johnson wins the fight. He's minus 162. He also missed weight, which I think, it's going to be an advantage coming into the third round, especially with Bunes' questionable gas tank. Now, to be fair, the reason Bunes broke badly against Joshua Van is because Van works body shots so good, and very few guys work body shots like that. He mixes it up to the body like very few because his boxing is just better than most of, the UFC guys. Most of the fighters in the UFC, to be honest, Joshua Van's one of the best boxers, I feel like, especially at flyweight. Johnson should work some knees to the body in the clinch too, I think. I still feel as though at 35, Bunes, he's probably still relatively primed, but he can definitely get outworked by Jose Johnson. So I'm going to say Johnson. I think probably decision. Johnson plus 150. For this fight, I think Johnson should win. It's definitely a legit pick. It's not a horrible bet, especially if you're looking for something to parlay that's not too wide. It's better than trying to throw down on one of the, minus 600 line like Jacobe Smith. So you could potentially play with Johnson, but you do got to recognize that he doesn't use his height effectively and he fights like a much shorter man, which is just simply non-optimal. But either way, pick Jose Johnson, should get the win. Better get the win after missing weight. Let's keep running. I got to pop out the Zin real quick. Shout out to the Zins. And let's jump to our main card. Starting it off, we got Punahele Soriano versus Uros Medic. And also, guys, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new, subscribe. My pick has been Uros Medic for this fight. He's definitely more technically sound and striking. Now, I was slightly worrisome about the size between these two, simply put, because Uros Medic is formerly a 155-pounder. He was at lightweight. Punahele Soriano was up at middleweight. Now they meet at 170 pounds, and I was excited to see how they looked on the scales. We'll bring up the scales in a minute, but I want to talk the matchup for a second. Uros Medic clearly is the better striker technically. Punahele Soriano throws good power hooks and has good pressure, but the issue with Punahele Soriano is he really doesn't have great entries. He can close the gap by throwing hard shots, but you saw Brendan Allen piece him up from the outside really badly. Brendan Allen is a decent striker, but he's not hyper elite. I'd say Uros Medic is technically superior to a Brendan Allen. We saw Soriano get beat up by Roman Kopylov as well. I feel like Uros Medic should probably take this one home. I'm going to say live for a counter shot KO. Soriano beat up the corpse of Miguel Baeza last time, and I think some people might be high on that win. Yo, he looked good against Baeza. He looked shredded. He looked strong. Dude, Miguel Baeza doesn't want to be a fighter anymore. Uros Medic is dialed in. He's living the fighter lifestyle. I like Uros Medic a lot. I think he's ready to go. And the scales gave me a bit of added confidence because I was a little bit worried about potentially Medic looking too skinny. But bro, he's actually really filled in nicely to this 170-pound frame. Soriano looks in great physical shape. Respect where it's due. He looks jacked. I got to get the better face off. This face off kind of just shows you Soriano. But listen, let me get the side-by-side right now, okay? Look at this. Yes, Soriano has bigger biceps, but looking at their statures, forget about the arms. Soriano has big arms, but do yourself a favor for a second, bro. Just cover the arm and then compare, right? Soriano might be a tad bit leaner, but as far as thickness of the back, I'd say similar. As far as the fighting muscles, I think that realistically, Medic is good to go. He's more wiry. He's better from the outside. He's going to be quicker and slicker than Punahele Soriano. I feel like Uros Medic is going to win this fight. I'm feeling good about Medic taking this one home. I think he probably finds a counter shot. I feel like he could sleep Soriano. That's the vibe I'm getting. Dude, the way he ended Tim Means was sick. And yeah, Mitabek Orabai ran him over on short notice, but Orabai is a dominant grappler. Soriano's got okay wrestling, but by no means would I call Punahele Soriano a good wrestler in MMA. He's okay. He's decent. Defensively, he's pretty sound, but he's dealing with a kickboxer here who likes to use range. Minus 220 for Uros Medic with Punahele Soriano sitting at plus 185. Looking towards some of the others. Ave Maria. Let's see. Over 1.5, minus 160. Good chance of it, but wouldn't want to throw the house on it. Medic by KO, plus 135. He's definitely got a chance for this knockout. KO there, KO there, KO there. It's like, bro, he's a fucking cold-blooded kickboxing finisher. I like Uros Medic, man. And I think he's getting better, too. He's 31. He's really entered his prime now. I see him beating Punahele Soriano. Soriano was once a pretty promising prospect at middleweight. He had good athleticism, but let's be honest, dude. A middleweight going down in weight usually struggles for success a lot more than a welterweight going up in weight. You get what I'm saying? Because the skill gap and technicality is very different. Like the guys are better at welterweight normally than at middleweight, especially unranked. So I'm going to say Uros Medic takes this one home and gets a nice win put together. I see him beating Punahele Soriano and starts the card off with a nice entertaining W, I believe. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Austin Bashi versus Christian Rodriguez. I like this fight. I like this fight a lot, actually. A lot. I'm picking Austin Bashi to win because I think the dude is a sensational grappling prospect. He's also got Muay Thai base, right? So he can strike with C-Rod, okay? But I think he uses that striking to get to his strongest area, which is just excellent grappling with insane control, great positional dominance. I think Austin Bashi is taking this one home, man. I actually really feel like he's live for a submission. C-Rod, he did great work at bantamweight. Granted, he was missing weight for a lot of those fights. He struggled more so at featherweight. Like when he was at featherweight, he should have lost this Dolgarian fight. He lost to Julian Erosa, and he's also lost to Jonathan Pierce. Austin Bashi is a lot more technically proficient in grappling than a Jonathan Pierce level of grappler who had success taking C-Rod down. I think Bashi is going to be on the mark in this fight, hitting takedowns, pressing C-Rod, gassing C-Rod, wearing him down. And I think Bashi is going to end up taking home a submission win. I've heard of him for years, man. This is a really high stakes debut. Like to step in for your first fight against C-Rod at this point, because he's like good at busting up prospects. He did it to Simon. He did it to Raul Rosas. I think that Austin Bashi, though, gets past the C-Rod test. He's not going to beat every undefeated guy that he fights. And I think Austin Bashi ends the trend of C-Rod busting prospects. So we're going with Bashi for the W. His grappling skill is sensational. C-Rod's got good stand-up, but I don't think he's knocking Bashi out. I don't think he's got the power to keep him off. And Bashi's also in damn good shape. Dude's jacked. He looks ready to go. He's got an intense demeanor. There's C-Rod. He's rocking the blonde hair. Dude, I don't think C-Rod has the strength to deal with Bashi. You'll see like a little bit of the difference in the muscle tone as well. Like look at the side-by-side. I get it. They both weighed in at 145, but like look at the difference in physicality. Bashi looks like a legit featherweight. I know he's fought at bantamweight previously, but he fills in this featherweight frame. Whereas C-Rod looks like a bantamweight who didn't cut to 135 pounds. Even though Bashi's on the shorter side, he has the build of a true featherweight. And I think Bashi is going to absolutely dominate C-Rod. So I'm going to say Bashi with grappling dominance for the win and probably finds himself a finish too. That angle's not as good. That's why I like the other angle, man. That's why I'm bringing you guys the more HD face-off picks instead of relying on MMA Junkie this week. Minus 270 for Austin Bashi. Christian Rodriguez sitting at plus 230. I see Bashi taking home a nice dub. Let's see. What else are we looking at here? Bashi to win via submission is going to be my official call. Bashi by sub around plus 315, but even as high as plus 450. So interesting lines there. I like Bashi. I like Bashi by sub. I see Bashi getting the dub. Let's go. Austin Bashi taking it home. It feels good for me, man. It's got a nice ring to it. Bashi for the W. He beats C-Rod. He does. I see it. We're going Bashi for the win. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight brings us to an absolutely sick fight. I am going to consider this fight as the people's main event. We got Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov. Now, throughout the week, I've been picking Chris Curtis as an underdog because I've said I think he can work well with his hands, closing the gap on Kopylov. Kopylov is not going to offer the takedown threat in this fight like he did against Cesar Almeida. And in moments against Almeida, Kopylov was getting touched up. Now, granted, he dropped him too, and I get it. Cesar Almeida is a crafty and high-level kickboxer, but Chris Curtis has very good MMA boxing, and he's got good combinations, especially in the mid and close range. So if he can close that gap on Kopylov, he's going to find success. Now, where he'll struggle is from range. If Kopylov can keep Curtis away from him and kind of do what Jack Hermanson did to Curtis and just pick him apart, yes, he's live to win a dominant decision. But I think Chris Curtis is going to bring a lot of pressure to close that gap, and I feel like he can land some big punches on the inside on Kopylov. But I will tell you, the face-off spooks me a bit. Let's check this out. We got Roman Kopylov. He looks in good shape. To be honest, Kopylov looks absolutely crazy, though. When you look at Kopylov closely, he looks like I don't know. He looks kind of like a gremlin pig demon mix. Then we got Chris Curtis doing the usual pose. But look at the height difference. What? Is Chris Curtis like bending over? I don't understand. This is 6 foot to 5'10". I know Kopylov had his slides on, but like Kopylov looks so much taller than him. This is crazy. Is Chris Curtis actually 5'8" and Kopylov's really 6'2"? This height difference is scary for me. Like, this is worrisome. Chris Curtis looks so short. I get it. He's not standing up straight. But, like, look at the level of Curtis's shoulder to the level of Kopylov's shoulder. That's a massive height difference. And Kopylov's a good striker from range, man. Now I'm getting scared on this Chris Curtis pick. I won't lie to you. Now the fear is set in. Like, I thought these guys were going to look similar in height. Chris Curtis is supposed to be 5'10". Kopylov 6 foot. Kopylov looks 6'3". Chris Curtis looks 5'8". That's crazy to me. I'm actually in shock by the height difference. It freaked me out earlier when I saw it. Kopylov at minus 212. Curtis at plus 182. I've liked Curtis as a dog, but I'm fucking worried, man. The kicking from distance by Kopylov is on point. The sniper striking from range is on point. Chris Curtis is going to have to bring a lot of forward pressure to avoid getting caught up on the outside. Now, to be fair, Chris Curtis in his last fight made me proud, though. He gave Brendan Allen hell, and I mean, shit, tore his hamstring at the end, but was going tooth and nail with Allen, who at that time was riding a nice win streak. Over is probably likely at minus 210. I've been saying Curtis by decision, plus 450. Damn. Kopylov decisions, minus 110. The big argument I have against Kopylov is he hasn't beaten anybody that's really good, right? Like, if you look at the wins for Kopylov, Cesar Almeida's okay. Josh Fremd is not good. Claudio Ribero's not good. And Punahele Soriano is mid and now at welterweight. Chris Curtis, I mean, the Barrio win by split looks really bad, but he followed it up with a great performance against Brendan Allen. Imavov fight, no contest. He was losing. The Kelvin Gastelum fight, he kind of got fucked by the headbutt, to be fair. Joaquin Buckley knockout win has aged like a fine wine, though. This fight has me sitting here thinking, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like, damn, is this the worthwhile pick flip of the night? Is Roman Kopylov just too tall and long? Something told me to pick Chris Curtis on Sunday. And even though my instincts are telling me maybe jump ship, I just feel like I can't do it. I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice. What, I get panicked because he looks short and then they get in the cage. They look almost the same height. Curtis wins a split decision and I'm kicking myself. I won't do it. I'll stick with Chris Curtis. Win, lose, or draw. I'm going to ride with my picks from Sunday. I'm going to ride with it. Fuck it. I'll take it on the chin if need be, or I'm delivering a knockout punch. I say split decision by Curtis, but the confidence on it is lower than it was earlier in the week. I did not expect these guys to look this vast of a difference at height. Holy hell, the height difference is crazy. Let's keep running up. Next fight on the card, we got Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Cesar Almeida. I've been picking Cesar Almeida all week. I think Cesar should touch Abdul Razak Alhassan up, man. I feel like he's going to outstrike Abdul Razak Alhassan. I feel like his hands are pretty accurate. His movement is good. He comes from a high-level base in kickboxing, and finally he gets to fight somebody with shorter reach than him and just being shorter. I think this is good. This is good for Cesar Almeida. Having a little range edge. Abdul Razak Alhassan's got big power, but he doesn't have good setups. He looks to explode and just throw bombs, but ultimately against a crafty kickboxer like Cesar Almeida, doing things like that's going to be difficult. Real quick, I got to take a sip. Shout out to the Celsius. They're not an official sponsor of the show, but they should be. Get yourself some Celsius sparkling cherry cola. It tastes like a Coke cherry, but it gives you the energy of, I don't know, fucking, you know what? Some nose boogers, you know what I'm saying? Some nose sugars. Sorry for the random rant. I needed a sip. I'm picking Cesar Almeida. His wrestling sucks, but Abdul Razak Alhassan doesn't have good takedowns. He has, I guess, relatively decent judo with his judo base. They don't use it in MMA. When is he throwing people, really? He's throwing knockout punches. He's been outstruck by good kickboxers before. I think he's going to get picked apart here and probably finished by Cesar Almeida. This is Cesar Almeida's chance to kind of get his stock back up after getting dominated by Kopylov. There is Cesar Almeida. Looks okay. Abdul Razak Alhassan, he looks thick per usual. Somehow he looks younger. It's because he grew his hair out, man. It looks a lot better than his old buzz cut. And let's look at the face-off. You can see Almeida's got that height advantage. This is good for Almeida. I think he'll be able to strike well. These guys stood so far from each other. My God. I feel like Cesar Almeida is able to touch him from distance, pick him apart with some good shots, slip and move on him. Maybe find the death punch. I would like to see Cesar Almeida get a KO. I think it'd be good. Be good for his hype. Would definitely, push him back towards top 15 potential. He's a big favorite at minus 253. Abdul Razak Alhassan plus 213. I'm picking Cesar Almeida, though. He's got to be the pick, bro. You got to pick Cesar. No other way about it. KO win for Cesar Almeida plus 130. I say Almeida picks his shots well. He finds some clean ones to the target of Abdul Razak Alhassan. Probably finds a counter shot KO. Abdul will leave some openings. He'll get a bit wild. And I think Cesar Almeida has the abilities to make him pay. So the pick is going to be Cesar Almeida. I'm going with the kickboxer. Next fight on the card, co-main event of the evening. We got Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. I don't even understand this fight as a co-main. We got Kopylov and Curtis, not the co-main, and this is. The bout order was made by somebody that was drinking on the job. I don't get it. I've been picking Ponzinibbio throughout the week, but I really don't like this fight that much. Carlston Harris is so clunky and awkward in striking. Ponzinibbio, he's definitely the better boxer, but he looks pretty old in the cage. Carlston Harris throws slapping shots, though, and I'm telling you, I've been saying it all week. He looks like a 60-year-old journeyman boxer from South America, bro. The dude is awkward, and he lacks technique. He's got good jiu-jitsu, though. He's long. He's 6 feet tall with a 76-inch reach. I want to look at the scales. He looks in good shape. He got viciously starched by Chaos Williams last time, which, I don't know. I think his chin might be gone. Ponzinibbio looks jacked. Ponzi's fiending for a win. Can you explain to me these heights? Is Carlston Harris 6'3"? Is Ponzinibbio 5'10"? Do we have the wrong heights on Tapology? Because this is the second fight of this card where it's like a what the fuck height difference when the guys are listed at the same height. Can we get some fucking, some checks on this? I don't understand. If Ponzi can close that gap and touch that chin, bro, he can lay Carlston Harris out. I'm going to say Ponzi's got one more violent win in him. And I think he needs to retire after this fight. Please, Ponzi, retire after this one. I think he's live to sleep Carlston. He's a slight favorite at -135. Harris +115. I would not touch the money lines here on either one of these guys, bro. They're not top caliber. They're past their primes. Either one could end up getting caught with something stupid. It's just simply not really a great bet. Ponzi by KO's +230. There's not much of a needle-moving line on that one, but I am going to predict that he finds the knockout. He hurt Muslim Salikov last time. Carlston Harris was violently chinned last time by Chaos. I know he pulled off the comeback against Jeremiah Wells, but he was getting fucked up. He beat Jared Gooden, but Gooden's awful. Shavkat absolutely ended him, and he hasn't looked the same since the Shavkat loss. Ponzinibbio, the Jeff Neal splits 3 years ago. Perez splits 2.5. Morono, he was losing, but he caught him with the comeback punch. Kevin Holland chinned him, but Kevin Holland's difficult. Muslim Salikov split decision. He was close in that fight. And Salikov got a 6 spinning back kick knockout of Kenan Song. I just think, for me, I'm going to go towards Ponzinibbio. You can't really know for sure with these oldies, but I'm going to say Ponzinibbio could catch him with a looping punch. Harris is so stiff. He lacks head movement. He has a subpar chin, and I think he looks older than Ponzinibbio somehow. So Santiago Ponzinibbio to knock Carlston Harris out is going to be the official prediction. Next fight, it brings us to our main event. I'm telling you guys, the UFC is doing us a good blessing with a pay-per-view level main event to cap off a fight night. Make sure you guys smash the likes. If you're new, subscribe. Woo! Dern versus Ribas 2. It's not a bad fight, but this is not a main event. This card's bout order is just random and delusional. I don't even understand. I don't understand it. But let me talk about the fight, okay? I don't want to make this, full complaint. We're doing picks. Okay, Ribas is the pick. Ribas is bigger. Ribas is better. Ribas beat her before. She's got good peppering punches. She's got fast 1-2. She's got very good jiu-jitsu. I think Ribas is better at grappling dominance positionally, whereas Dern is better at transition speed. But ultimately, I don't really see Dern getting on top of Ribas. I actually can see both of their grappling skill sets kind of negating one another's and this turning into more of a striking fight. Dern does have some like wide explosiveness when she throws some of her chaotic shots, but she lacks technicality and she also really lacks precision. Whereas Amanda Ribas is a bit more precise. She picks her shots better. She's a bit calmer. I don't know. I just think Ribas has done, even though losses on the resume fighting at flyweight, she's done a good thing by taking on some of the best flyweights in the world. She went 5 rounds in a competitive fight with Thug Rose last time out. Fight before that, she beat Pinheiro, who turned out to be trash, and that was actually at strawweight, which this fight takes place at, showing she can still make the weight no problem. Macy Barber knocked her out in a good back and forth fight, but Barber's high caliber and a big girl. She beat Viviane Araújo. That's actually a big win. That aged well. Vivi just absolutely busted the prospect in Corinne Silva. Close fight with Caitlin Sarmanara, Caitlin Chukagan formerly. I think Ribas going up in weight is good for her. She got some experience against these big girls, and she's shown she can compete with like most women within 125, 115 pretty competitively. Mackenzie Dern on the other side, I mean, she beat Lupi Godinez last time, but Godinez a lot shorter than her, really only offers wrestling, doesn't have much of a quality striking game from range, more inside fighting boxing, and she's just not that good. Amanda Lemos fight, that was a weird fight, bro. Dern, she got touched up in that fight, but then Lemos fucking, giving her backup and shit, and Dern having success in grappling. Andrade absolutely wrecked her. Angela Hill win, okay, and then Yan Xiaonan lost. So I guess she was tough in that fight. I think Ribas wins a decision. She beat Mackenzie Dern the first time they fought, and I think she's going to beat her a second time. She's still better than her. I just think she's the big sister to Mackenzie Dern. I feel like Ribas just got her number. She's just more technical. I remember when she beat her years ago. Was that 2019? There's Amanda Ribas on the scale. She got the very wiry and like skinny build. There's Mackenzie Dern with the silicone. She looks great though. Listen, I'm not shitting on her for it. Like I said, you cut and weight, they're gonna shrink to nothing unless they ain't real. And there's a close-up, of course. MMA Junkie giving you guys a close-up. Oh yeah, they got multiple picks. MMA Junkie's doing this on purpose. And then you see Amanda Ribas looking intense at the face-off. I really feel like she won the battle of the face-off. She also looks a good amount taller. Another fight where Tapology is telling us one height and the reality is something completely different. I'm actually shocked by that. Like, I know they fought before. I thought they were about the same height, but damn. Ribas looks noticeably taller, and she's listed as an inch shorter than Mackenzie Dern. And winning the posture battle, you got to give it a Ribas. Look at the way she's standing straight up. She's got aura. She's got confidence. Dern, she looks in there tough, but like she's still submitting to Ribas, bro. Amanda Ribas gonna beat her again. She's got her number. This is just a bad matchup for Mackenzie Dern. I think she loses a unanimous decision. Ribas minus 190, Dern plus 164. I like the chances of Ribas taking it home. I feel like she would be a considerably underrated parlay piece at this point. I didn't give it as much attention earlier in the week, but on Friday, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to cook up a little extra parlay for you guys with some closer odds after we go over the parlays from Wednesday. And I'm feeling good about some of the calls this card. Over 4.5 at minus 210 is probably going long. Looking at Ribas to win decision, minus 120 plus 100. I think Ribas does take it home by decision. I see her winning this fight. I see her getting back into the mix at women's strawweight. And I like Amanda Ribas a lot against, most of the top strawweights. I think she at least competes well. And I see her beating Mackenzie Dern for a second time. W incoming. Amanda Ribas. Those are the picks for the first card of 2025. We're not done, though. I want to look at some parlays. So Wednesday, I dropped some savagery with the parlays, okay? And I still feel like many of them hold weight, especially the true high confidence calls. I think they're looking pretty solid. Like the DGen AF one at the bottom, bro, that could end up coming to fruition too. But I want to do a live parlay for you guys that I was actually like visualizing throughout the show. Let me just get best fight odds on screen, and I'm gonna cook you guys up a little parlay live with relatively decent odds is gonna be the goal, right? I'm not trying to have shite odds. All right, so I said some of the close money fights that I think could come to fruition from the main card. I think Uros Medic has a pretty live chance to beat Soriano. I think Ribas also wins. That's plus 129. Obviously, I like the chance for Bashi at plus 215. This is like a little alternate action parlay, and if you throw Caliari in early in the night, plus 925 now. I think Caliari's a good dog. I won't lie to you. Post weigh-in, it's like weird. My confidence on Caliari rose as opposed to my confidence on Ogden kind of stayed here. But like Caliari's kind of feeling like a true dog savage lock. But at the end of the day, stick with what I'm saying Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? This is slightly emotional on the weigh-in show because you see the weigh-ins, you start getting in your head, things can shift. But this right here is a little alternate love, man. Little alternate action parlay. Gadzhiyasulov should win too. Now, if you don't want to play Uros Medic, you're too unsure. I get it. You don't want to play Ribas maybe either. I get it too. You still get plus 520 if you're going Bashi, Caliari, and Gadzhiyasulov. But if you're like, yo, I'm not really feeling Caliari, I don't want to risk it on a women's fight, I tell you, you know what? I get it. Bashi and Gadzhiyasulov's a good alternate at minus 110. I think this has got a decent little ring to it, and the odds are really not bad. And then if you wanted to throw main event, Ribas pulling in plus 190. I think there's a lot of live calls, man. I'm very worried about Chris Curtis and Kopylov. I think many of you can tell from my tone in that fight, bro. Like Curtis, he looks so short, man. I was not expecting him to look that short. If in the cage they look closer in height, my confidence will come back a bit. But I'm very worried post weigh-in with that one. But the tape tells me Curtis is in the fight for sure. But the, natural human emotion is like, oh shit, maybe not. Oh, fuck. Let me just ignore that. Take a deep breath. It's all going to come together. I like this as like a little alternate, but I got a good slate of parlays listed out. Listen, ride with what you feel confident in. And sure, you can go D-Gen Savage mode, right? There's nothing wrong with mixing it up. If you think Caliari's a good underdog like I do, if you're like, yo, I think Trey Ogden wins too, you got plus 713 for those two. And then if you're like, all right, who else do I feel pretty good about? I think Bashi's that good, plus 1,000. I don't want a debuting fighter. Okay, Ribas. You don't want Ribas. You don't want a woman. Hey, maybe you want to do Gadzhiyasulov, plus 1,000. Maybe you're doing Ribas and Gadzhiyasulov. Rome, plus 1,600. You think Bashi taking it home? Plus 2,265. Listen, you think Kopylov and Curtis going long? Plus 3,365. A little D-Gen savagery with two dogs to close out the show because, I had to throw something crazy. Crazy idea for the folks. Listen, bet intelligently, do it responsibly. Don't blindly tail. If you're actually betting substantial cash, do your own research, man. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking. I hope you guys enjoyed the weigh-in show. Make sure you guys all smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Welcome to the channel if you're new. We got daily live streams. We're doing twice a day during the week now, Savage Mode. We're doing one at 12 p.m. and then one in the evening hours, Eastern time, of course. And then Fight Companion going down tomorrow. I'm damn excited for it. So make sure you tune into that. Keep it locked in on the channel. Turn your post notifications on. Let me know what you thought of the picks in the comments down below. You guys have any pick flips or any ones that you're feeling maybe a little more nervous about where earlier in the week you were more confident? Or is there any confident jumps that you got too? I want to hear from you. Also, if you got nothing to say in the comments, but you enjoy the content, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Weigh In Show. Much love, my people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.